Hey Scrappy peeps, Susanna here today to share with you my layout for Creative Scrappers sketch number 305. We are partnered up with the Cut Shop this month and we are using Cut Shop files with this particular sketch. I have created a 3 cluster layout, but instead of using the 3 clusters as the sketch calls for, well, instead of using the 3 pictures that the sketch calls for, I just used one picture. I used a black and white picture of my daughter and I because there were so many colors in the pattern paper that I chose to use. I have this wood background and am using the collection So Fancy from Simple Stories. And to just add a little bit of visual interest and some added color to this background paper, I decided to do some hand stitching. So you can see in the sketch that there are 3 squares, and those background darker squares, rather than using pattern paper or cardstock, I decided to just hand stitch the outline of those. So I used my Tim Holtz ruler and a paper piercer and just pierced in the appropriate size squares, and I did the rest of that off camera because I don't think you needed to watch about 30 minutes of video of me hand stitching. So this is the square, and I used for that floral circle or leafy circle, I used the file Wreathed in Love from the Cut Shop, and then the pink flower that I just laid up there is from Funky Florals, and I cut the leaf out of that and just left the flower. So I used 3 flowers and 3 of those Wreathed in Love files, and I just scaled them down so that there were 3 graduated sizes, just as there are 3 graduated sizes of the squares. You can see as I create this layout that instead of the other 2 pictures, I used these chipboard frames from the So Fancy Simple Stories collection. And one of them, the one on the left, I put my journaling in there, and the one on the right hand side, I just put the location, and I will go ahead and put the date in. I actually haven't done that. I haven't dated this layout. So I'm committing to these arrangements in the sketch. The sketch calls for a square, 2 circles, and another square, and then embellishments. So I went with the 2 squares, and instead of the 2 circles, I have the wreath and then the flower. And the star embellishments aren't set embellishments. They actually end up being hearts in many ways, but 3 different hearts. And I did move the title. The title on the sketch is on the left-hand side, but I decided to put my title between the top picture there and the embellishment cluster on the bottom. You can see that Splendid that I have cut up the top there, and that Splendid comes from another Cut Shop file called Splendid Spring. I split the title and just took Spring out because I really wanted to use Girl from the Simple Stories chipboard. I had a lot of space underneath Splendid and wanted to fill that in, and I thought the girl worked perfectly. I end up throwing away that pink Splendid. Actually, I save it because I don't throw any cut files away, but I recut the file in the navy because I thought that the color contrast worked better. So I took one of those chipboard hearts, and it's actually not chipboard, it's a sticker, and then the blue heart sticker down the bottom that says You and Me, and I popped those up. When you have chipboard elements, I like to pop other elements just to continue with that added dimension. And then in the sketch it calls for just some dots around these 3 clusters, and you could use anything there. You could use the enamel dots, you could use mixed media, paint splatters, but I went ahead and used, actually I did use a couple of enamel dots, and I used the chipboard flowers, and at the bottom I used one of the sticky brads. And that is the blue Splendid from the cut file from the Cut Shop that I put in to complete my title along with the girl from the So Fancy Simple Stories chipboard piece. I like having some added embellishments, so I just dug through various other bits and pieces that I have from this collection. And so this is where I mentioned earlier that I put the epoxy dots and the sticker brads, and I'm just looking for homes for these things. Just it adds a little bit of color to the wood pattern paper background that I use. So in a minute, I'm going to finish shuffling things around and call this layout done. If you are interested in playing along with us, please do go to the Creative Scrappers blog and check out the linkit that should be there in order to share your layouts with us. There are lots of great examples that other people have created from this sketch, and there is a prize to be won as always. Thanks for joining me this week. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And if you don't subscribe, I would love for you to join me. We've got some fun things coming up with Spiegel Mom Scraps and National Scrapbook Day around the corner. So lots of fun things coming our way. Oh, and I guess before I go, I should tell you that yes, these chipboard elements are sticker, but I do use my Scotch adhesive liquid glue because while there is adhesive behind the chipboard, I do like to put extra adhesive because I do find that a lot of the things fall off, especially these really small elements. Even the enamel dots, I often end up putting some liquid glue behind. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you're doing well, and I hope to catch you soon.